All right, welcome to the Clean Energy Virtual Roadshow, highlighting projects in central Minnesota. We have a panel of clean energy experts, Vaughn from RREAL, Bali Kumar from Pace Loan Group, and Clay Norrbom from Juhl Clean Energy Assets to talk about projects in central Minnesota. About 40% of the jobs in the clean energy industry are in greater Minnesota, so somewhat proportional to population in our state. And small businesses really do drive this sector. 71% of the clean energy jobs in Minnesota are in companies with 20 or fewer employees.
Right now, we are a $2.5 million a year nonprofit. REAL, the nonprofit, our mission is to make solar accessible to communities. Our strategic vision is to use solar to reduce poverty. We have created a solar curriculum that's now available and free to use. It's K through 8. CERTS is working with us. They convened a advisory committee of classroom science teachers to improve our curriculum, our base curriculum, and that should be out in the next month or so. Meanwhile, we're working with the White Earth Tribal and Community College on getting the school accredited by NABCEP, and we intend in 2022-23 school year to put 20 to 25 students through course. We are hoping that once we get this in place at the White Earth Tribal College, that there'll be other tribal colleges that are interested in doing this also. Our end goal is to create a trained, capable, indigenous workforce to move into these new jobs, while they also work towards creating energy sovereignty for their own bands and reservations.
I think when someone is borrowing money to upgrade their facility and they're using PACE financing, we deal with all the complicated stuff. Property owners should just focus on energy savings. The cost of utilities goes up over time. And if you can just lock in a loan over a long period, which means that the repayment is small, then as the cost of energy goes up, that's just more and more savings. And things that you can finance through PACE include, solar, wind, roof replacement, building controls, lights, all the energy efficiency and renewable energy good stuff. Also, some folks are using PACE retroactively in that maybe 12 months ago, because you can go back 12 months in Minnesota, maybe 12 months ago, someone said, hey, I put in solar and I paid for it out of pocket because I had the money, but maybe I want to actually just spread the cost out over 20 years. So they'll go back, retroactively finance using PACE and put the money back in their pocket and pay it back over time. A couple case studies I want to go through. The first one is in Hutchinson. It's just solar on a manufacturing facility. The property owner elected to do a 10-year PACE term. They could have done 15 or 20, I'm sure, but some folks just want to pay it off as soon as they can. So 10 years, $520,000 of solar on a 100,000 square foot warehouse in Hutchinson. And the energy audit shows $27,500 of annual savings. So, it pays itself off.
Over the 30 years, especially over the last 10 years, we've worked to diversify beyond just wind. So we work in wind and solar. We own some small hydroelectric facilities. What I want to talk about today is, again, a project that we're in central Minnesota that we're very proud of. And this picture here is a good aerial image of it. The location here is near Pelican Rapids in Otter Tail County. So a few things about it. We call it the Lake Region Community Hybrid. It's made up of wind and solar together, connected in a hybrid application. We'll talk about that in a second. It supplies the Lake Region Rural Electric Co-op that's based near Pelican Rapids in Otter Tail County. This project provides the ability for Lake Region to use that carve-out. And so for them, what does this project mean? What does renewable energy mean to them and their members? It means cost savings. A little bit about the technical nature of it. The project itself is a true hybrid, and is one of the first true hybrid projects in the country. And so, what happens is that the amount of hours in a year where wind will be at its peak at the same time as solar at its peak are very limited. And we're talking about hundreds of hours or less out of the almost 9,000 hours in a year. And so this system, though, essentially controls for that and allows that it never actually will kind of double peak at the same time. Again, the ownership of the actual Lake Region project is, again, not just a faceless owner, but the management team of Juhl and a number of our smaller investors who are scattered throughout the Midwest. If this is something that resonates in your heart in terms of wanting to make an impact on climate, make a positive impact on communities, that's great. We want that. But it's always good to have base skills too. So, I always encourage people, become an accountant, become a technical, become an electrician, it doesn't matter at what skill level. We always want, we can use people who are good at a trained skill, who might have the interest, and who, we can teach the rest of the space around a solar panel or a wind turbine and everything else. So we don't need to pigeonhole people too early in their career to say, you've got to be a exact renewable energy specialist.
These are the jobs of the future. So when you're thinking about what type of job or what type of career you want to take a step back and look at the economy and think, all right, where's the economy going? I want to be there. And so these are the jobs of the future. And it's not just something super niche as like, I'm either going to be a solar installer or nothing, right? Like, you can be an attorney and you focus on this sort of work, because obviously attorneys are needed everywhere. Like Clay was saying, you can be an accountant, you can be an engineer, or you can be somebody, coming in at a different level. There are just so many different types of jobs in the clean energy industry, in the clean energy economy, that there's a home for everyone. If something like that really goes through, it pushes the rest of the economy by providing the appropriate incentives, and some of it is just, with enough PR, people start to think, oh, this isn't just some weird fringe thing. This is what I should be doing.
Certain aspects that really have a chance to ignite the fire under the next 10 years of the industry, and that's not about just what it does for wind or solar. It really is critical of what it means for EV charging, for hydrogen, for other of the technology of the future, and how, if we're ever going to have a chance to get to where the state wants to get by 2050, now is where we need to start to really, like I said, ignite under some of these other technologies.
And then if you have any other questions or want to get in touch, here is my contact information and the rest of our team. And we thank you very much for joining today's presentation.